Ferrets are the largest of the 3 mustelid species in New Zealand and are more likely to be found on grassland or bush edges. They mainly come out at night and have their kits in their dens during October and November. Ferrets can be caught in cage traps or kill traps in tunnels, and rabbit bait is also good for catching ferrets. Wild and wandering cats are another important target in many areas. Cats have a home range anywhere between 50 to 2,000 hectares, so may be hard to lure to a trap, and they are seldom seen.
Okay, what we've got here is a live capture cage trap. We use it for cats, particularly in areas where we might end up catching domestic cats. The key thing with a live capture trap is you've got to check it daily. You can't leave the animal in there. Okay, another effective way to catch cats is use your Tim's traps, your possum trap. Some people widen the teardrop a little bit so the cat can get his head in easier, and you just need to use a bit of solid meat, fish that's going to go in the pin. There's a little bit of salami here. Slide it down. And the key thing with the Tim's, very easy to set, right place. The smell there is that you do not want to catch a kiwi in a Tim's.
So, make sure all Tim's traps are set at least 700mm off the ground.
Okay, this is an SA cat trap, another way to catch cats, another kiwi predator. It's important that it's 3/4 metre above the ground. You do not want to catch a kiwi in it. Your ramp, you don't want it too wide. You certainly want it less than 100 mils. You don't want a kiwi walking up there, nice 30-35 degree angle. They've got a bit of bite to them, so you've got to be fairly wary of them. It's held by a bit of L-shaped metal that's screwed into the tree, really nice and firm, nice and flat in the tree. You put your bait. In this case we've got some peanut butter and cat nuts, but minced rabbit goes really well, most minced meat. So you want the animal to put his head in there. When you go to set it, it's a scissor trap again, spring, squeeze there, and this is your trigger. It needs to move freely. There's a little groove here, it slides in there. Carefully slide it in, keep your finger on the top, nice and safe. Make sure the spring is angled down. There's quite a bit to these traps, but you want the pins nicely evenly spread, slightly going out. So when your cat comes in, hits those pins, and he's got to reach through to your bait here. I have it stapled quite high up on the tree so that when your cat does get whacked, he's hanging well above the ground. Comes in here, pushes these triggers here, bang.
If it's important not to kill family pets, you may find it's best to use live capture traps for cats and get people around your project area to make sure their pet has a collar on. Keeping track of what you catch, where and when is important. Carry a notebook to record what you find at each trap, and at the end of each day, record the results and any other useful data into permanent files. Trapping regimes vary throughout the country depending on the nature of the terrain, the objectives of the program, and who's carrying out the trapping. In Arthur's Pass, for example, they prefer to use DOC 200 traps for stoat control, and their steep terrain dictates where equipment is placed.
We're pretty much surrounded by very, very steep terrain here, a lot of screes, a lot of steep ridges coming down, and obviously predators are more interested in where there's food available and also with their ability to travel long distances each day. So they do tend to hang around the valley floor, around the creeks and rivers, and that's the obvious place for us to put our trapping lines. Most people are amazed the odour that can come from a fresh egg, but we certainly get the results in the catching count, which is good.
The role of ship rats as killers is increasingly recognised, especially for smaller birds and birds' eggs, and they compete with kiwi for forest insects. Often, when there are large numbers of rats in an area, stoat numbers are also high. Rats can be controlled by trapping or poisoning. We all know possums are pests because they eat kiwi habitat, but they can also disturb an adult on its nest and eat kiwi eggs. But sometimes kiwi fight back. Possums can be trapped or poisoned with pellets, or paste in bait stations or biobags. You have to be careful if setting possum traps. They must be at least 700 millimeters above the ground, so they will not catch a kiwi. Setting traps on the ground in kiwi areas or leaving any trap uncovered is a potential disaster for kiwi. Hedgehogs may be cute in your garden where they eat the slugs that eat your lettuces, but in a forest they take food from the mouths of kiwi by eating New Zealand's native snails and insects. Hedgehogs also eat the eggs of small native ground nesting birds. They can sometimes be caught in fen traps or other traps set under tunnels. As well as recording all your trapping results, it's also important to have a monitoring program in place to make sure you're on track to achieve what you're aiming for with your pest and predator control. Tracking tunnels with bait and ink pads can be set so that small animals running through them leave telltale footprints showing you what pests are still around.
There's an ink pad in here and they'll leave their footmarks all over it, and then we can get an idea of what's here, and then we can lay the right poison or traps to do so.
And you have to think about what site you're choosing?
Oh yeah, all the time. But because it's a special monitoring system,
Yep.
you actually have to get the spacing right. So this is like 50 metres from the last one, and there's 10 in a row.
Yep.
And then you mark it up
Okay.
like that, and there's the ink pad in the centre.
Yep.
And we put some peanut butter there so they can go, that lures them inside.
Okay, so they smell that and then they...
Yep. And then it's important to get the date that we do this, and also the same number up here, and that's tunnel 7 line 3.
Yep.
And so this is the same, so we know where to come back to. We can tell what's run through here.
Cool.
We put that in there, and the rat ones go in there for one night.
Yep.
And I'll come back tomorrow, take it out, read it.
See what we found.
Yep, and put a new card in, and it's marked up for stoats, and it's got meat on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that goes out for 3 nights. Right, now the other trick we do is a wax tag.
Yep.
And these go in right along our track every 10 metres. It's a wax tag like that. This is all wax.
Yep.
And it's mainly for rats and possums. And we put it just above the ground level. And then we put this little fluoro tag on it as well. Nail it into the tree. And then the rats or possums will come along and munch it. So it's another indicator.
Oh, okay.
So just put it onto here.
So they leave their teeth marks behind?
Yep. And then when you're good at it, you can read it all and tell whether it's rats or possums.
So what is it about these tags that makes them want to come past and munch it?
Oh, what happens is that this fluoro tag here
Yeah.
absorbs the light during the day, and at night it shines and attracts the possums to it.
Learning how to effectively control pests and predators will help Kiwi survive. You can get more information on pest control from the Kiwi Survival Guide and BNZ's Save the Kiwi website.